Hello, everyone, and welcome to the episode 91 of the Office Hours podcast. We had another massive break. It seems like a month at least, or maybe even more. I've been busy. Mo has been busy, but we're back now, and we're ready to get into it. I actually had a topic, unless you have something. So you can tell me what you had in mind, and if it's cool, we can do that. But if
Of course, it's always cool, but actually today I've just missed you. I just wanted to come catch up with you, you know. It's if you have something you prefer to talk about, I just wanted to come check on you.
Yeah, no, it's just been a massive Groundhog's Day for us. It's like every day is the same. Um, the baby is like 2 months old now, which is crazy. It's been 2 whole months. It's just like
Yeah.
absolutely intense. But like on the life side of things, is like not
Mhm.
really much is happening. It's just like the baby wakes up 7 in the morning, and then you hang out with it, and then you feed it, you change it, and then you take a baby to take a bath, and then you try to put it to sleep, and it just like wash, rinse, repeat for like a month and a half. So, but it's pretty cool
Okay.
nevertheless. 8 out of 10 would recommend. If
Eight
if
out of
not
10.
if
Oh,
not for the
geez.
for the lack of sleep.
Oh,
I
geez.
don't know.
Oh.
Can you see the bags? It's not even the bags. It's like military Alice pack, 60
Ah,
kilo, 120 liter. But anyway, that is
but
all besides the point.
yeah. I mean, how are you combining this with like work and like life and
Well,
stuff?
I'm
Because
I'm, I'm still on leave, so there's that. I honestly can't really understand how it would go if I was not on leave. It just feels like it's just like a complete non-starter. Uh, and life-wise, like this is pretty much my life. Well, I mean, it's not too bad. We get decent amount of sleep at night. During the day, I can work on some things. I recently, for the project we're working on, I've deployed a self-hosted version of Figma, which is pretty cool. It's not like Figma itself, but it's like pretty much the same thing. But you can run it yourself, which I thought was pretty
this
interesting.
is what? Wait, what? Like, why? Like, what's your reason? And how does it work? If it not, what do you do with it? I have a lot of questions. Would you do a demo? You should do a demo.
I could do a demo, I guess. I haven't really used it that much yet, but it is there. It's basically like a tool for building designs, and it's open source and it's self-hosted, and I host it myself, so I don't have to, depend on anybody else. And it ties into my ecosystem, single sign-on, storage, the whole 9 yards. Apart from that, yeah, we haven't like really fully leveraged it yet. I only installed it like a couple of days ago, so I'm still
Oh,
playing around with it.
installed. Okay, so like
Yeah,
it's not
yeah.
you didn't build it yourself.
No, I
Like
didn't build it myself. No, no, no,
that's what I thought. That's why I was asking you all those many questions. Like why?
no. What? No, I don't think I have skill level or time requirements to build something of that nature myself. But I think they've been
Listen,
building it for
Vasili,
like at least 7 years.
when you said that, in my head I was like, why would you want a new Figma and then start building a Figma app for yourself? Like that's just I wanted to ask you, do you have a lot of time? Were you just bored and you just like, you know what, I'm just gonna do it?
No, no, it's not that. It's just I'm just trying to do more and more tooling locally that I can install myself and host myself.
Yeah, you
You
do
know,
that.
so
Yeah, yeah, good. It's a good thing, actually. Like I
yeah.
think if we can get off of this one time I was reading about I think there was this journal from the New York Times or something like this. It was about the empire of data, like how everyone is trying to get as much data point as possible, something like this. And
Hmm.
especially with this whole like every major company has some kind of AI, something chatbot
Yeah,
somehow.
and they need ton of
Like
data to train it.
Yeah, like somehow. And for example, like I think Amazon does just with like Perplexity or something. I don't know if you know Perplexity.
I heard the name.
Yeah, it's not bad tool to be honest. And of course you know Grok
Yes.
and all these people, and it's like they just want so much information about a lot of people, and this is just the easy way to get data on people. And honestly, I've been stressing a bit about it because I'm thinking about like at some point where like these tools will become things that they use to make like prediction. You know how like you could go to the airport and then you do like facial recognitions and then they say like, oh, someone who is likely to be a criminal, you know,
Mm.
something like this, this kind of
Yeah, yeah.
stuffs. So like these are the tools that they would use. And right now I have a feeling that um there might be a bit of like biases in many of these tools right now. And honestly, there is a lot of things to be worried about. But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
we'll stop here for now. But yeah,
I could have told you as much like a year ago, and I think I did.
no, see, you're not wrong about like your predictions about all these things. It's true, but it's also hard to accept the good part, knowing all these things. But it's just because we work in this industry. If you don't know what you
Yeah,
don't
you
know,
don't
right?
know. As they say, like if you want to keep eating sausage, you should never learn how it's made.
How is sausage made?
Well, if you learn about it, well, I mean, it's an expression, but
You hit a nerve. That expression hit a nerve. Like, what do you mean? Because I like sausage. Like, how is sausage made?
well, I don't know. You can Google it on your free time.
Okay, okay, okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. I hope it's not bad
I
because,
mean, you
like,
can make it by hand. It's just the expression is like once you understand how something is done, then you know enough about it to kind of be really frightened about it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, anyway, so if you make yours by yourself at home and you try to like decentralize,
The
uh,
decentralized sausage.
decentralize Vasily's data. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
that's something. But what do you want to talk about? You said you had
Well,
some.
funnily enough, even though I just said that I like deployed this open source tool, lately for like I don't know, half a year maybe, I'm having this thought that like open source is basically cooked. Like like that's it. Like open source is it has
Cooked.
failed in all of its promises and it's not what it was supposed to be. And it's like it's just trash. It's just giant trash fire. There's like tiny islands of
Mhm,
people doing cool
mhm,
things,
mhm,
but by
mhm.
and large, anything like remotely foundational in the world of open source has been completely like subverted, taken over, and like went insane. So I think we're like living in last good years of the open source movement before it's like completely subsumed by weird forces and it's just done
I
for.
think we talked about this like in one of a few of the episodes even, and I told you the same thing. And I think I explained why I think he was dying, because it's not very um rewarding. Like like the idea was to like, put everybody's like resources together, like contribute resources to a particular goal, to a particular common interest. But there's no reward to it. Or am I wrong?
Well, I don't think that it's like you can argue that. I don't think that it's like my vision is not for those reasons. My vision is for like for completely different reasons.
What's it? Hey, tell me.
Mostly just ideological takeover. Like if you look at any popular software, they all like gone insane in last couple of years to various degrees, you
Mhm.
know. And
AI.
like once you bring that stuff,
Mhm.
like once you move away from engineering and start focusing on not engineering but everything else, like you're done. Eventually it's gonna go to crap.
I think you need to break this down. What do you mean?
Well, uh like I don't know. Have you do you know about Nix? Nix
Hmm.
package manager and Nix OS? Have you
Yes,
followed
a little bit.
have you
Mm,
followed any recent drama there?
no, no, not recent. No,
So
no.
basically, like, there's been a bunch of people, and I'm paraphrasing because, like, I don't know enough details. And like, I heard a bunch of things, but like, a bunch of people in the community basically ousted the guy who invented it, calling him like all sorts of names for his political beliefs or lack of political beliefs. And they like started banning people en masse if they say like if they have certain political beliefs, they just like ban them. Gnome Foundation like just basically outright calls people slurs on their main marketing materials, and nobody gives a shit about it. And they like ban people if they discuss their political beliefs, like if they're different from the group. And like a lot of projects do that. Like a lot of projects have become completely subversived by like some political activists, and they like wreak havoc on the community and like ban people and police speech and basically do whatever the fuck they want. And in that atmosphere, I don't think that these projects will survive. The only problem with that is that there's big corporations like Microsoft and whatnot and Google who are also completely ideologically taken over, that have tons of money to dump into these open source quote unquote projects to keep this ridiculous thing going. Whereas before, if that would have happened without like any external support, it would have probably died. I think like people are making forks of these projects and trying to like preserve the software and like get rid of all the crap, but it's like an uphill battle because there's just so many of them. Like Debian recently basically said we're bringing in Rust for critical components for reasons, and everyone's like, why? And they like, because we said so. And when people ask like, okay, what's the technical merit of doing that, you don't get like a reasonable explanation. Like, oh, C is too ancient. We have to go, we have to be with the times. And then they like rewrote a bunch of tooling in Rust. It doesn't pass like half of their test suite and is like buggy and crappy, but they're putting it in anyway because like, why not? And so, given like all of these signals from all the different places, I kind of have a feeling that it's like mostly done for.
Hmm. Yeah, you know, yeah, I see where you're coming from. But for example, what I was thinking about is like, I think it just might have been different. Like, I think it might have changed in a way. For example, I think Visual Studio Code is
Mhm.
open source, and because it is,
It's open source ish.
they were able to fork a version of it to create Cursor.
But okay, so the way that Visual Studio Code situation is that there are components which are not open source, and you cannot use them with any kind of non-original VS Code implementation. And it has like support for like language support, and like a bunch of tooling only works with Visual Studio Code from Microsoft. Like if you have VS Codium or what have you, those things explicitly don't work. So it's like open core where all the juicy bits are under very tight control. It's kind of like Chrome, like Chrome is technically open source, but there's like so much Google crap in there that like once you take all of it out, it's still a browser, it still works, but there's like a lot of it that is still under control. And it's kind of like Android. Android is open source. Well, not even anymore. I mean, it still kind of is, but then Google recently said that they're like not going to be releasing the source code into the public. They're only going to be releasing it to like their trusted partners or whatever. So like AOSP is basically dead. And they've been trying to kill it for years because they just take stuff from like the OS portion that is open source and migrate it into Play Services, which is closed source. So like more and more functionality just gets moved into Play Services, and they don't have to open source that. So you get like this very, very bare bones thing that doesn't really give you all that much in terms of like being able to deliver a consumer friendly device, right? Like sure, you have the operating system, but like all of the useful bits are gone, and like you have to re-implement all of them yourself. So
Mhm.
yeah, they've been trying really hard to do that for years, and now they're basically saying that they want to prohibit installing third-party applications onto Android in sometime 2026. So everything has to go through Play Store, and they say, "Oh, it's for security reasons." But
That's
at
what
the
I was
same,
gonna say.
but there's like billion crappy programs at Play Store that like steal your data and like, so Play Store does not make it safe for you security wise. But if you completely remove people's ability to install third party, not even third party, it's like Android applications just not through the Play Store, and once they do that, like, I mean, okay, Apple already has been doing it since day one, right? Like,
Hmm.
you can't install anything on the iPhone. There's like all these attempts at jailbreaking it, but I don't even know what's like the last generation of iPhones that you can jailbreak. I'm pretty sure you can't really jailbreak like the latest ones.
Maybe.
Well, I haven't been paying attention. But I
Hmm.
remember back in the day for like older iPhones, like I have 2, 3, 4, 5, like you could trivially jailbreak them and install custom software on them if you wanted to. But I'm pretty sure that's not even remotely the case anymore. And like if Android prohibits installing applications from a third party, Microsoft will look at it and be like, that's a good idea. Let's just make people go through Windows Store for everything, right? Like that would be a pretty shitty deal. Like Apple is also trying to do this thing where it's like with every new version of the OS, they're not adding as many useful features, but with every version they keep locking it down. Like I remember where it started doing this pop-up, like you run some program and it's like, it hasn't been installed through iTunes. Are you sure? I'm like, yes, I'm sure. And now you have to like click through 5 different menus to be able to do that. And the
First of
next
all,
version, they're just gonna lock it down even more, right? So they just make it harder and harder and harder to install the software that you want to run yourself, in a
but
sense, turning it from a personal computer into their computer that you just get to use. And the fact even that Windows renamed my computer to this computer in Windows 11 is kind of indicative too, because it's no longer your computer.
well, fair enough. Yeah, this, but I feel like we might have gone a bit like
It's a bit in a different direction, but it's
yeah.
it's all part of the same kind of like, if you lock down personal computing so that it's no longer personal and you're just a product and your OS is just a giant vacuum sucking up all possible data about you to sell to advertisers and train their AIs, and at the same time, like open source stuff is completely crippled. Maybe not today, but like if it keeps going the way that it's going, in a couple of years, there's just gonna be just complete shit show in there, and like you will not have any viable alternatives, and like then you're completely captured. So I don't know if that's the design and the trajectory, but if it does go in this direction, it's where it's likely going to end up.
Okay, help me to understand your main concern. Because like right now, I can understand that you are concerned about like the direction of open source, but for me, I'm thinking about it that there are few ideas of open source. I feel like there is no brief history, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
I think it's pretty much started like when we started having version control systems.
No,
Uh,
it's been
mm,
happening even before.
Do you remember how it started? Like,
Well, arguably before, you have your IBM, you have your Hewlett Packard making those huge ass mainframes, and then you pay, I don't know, in today's dollars, you pay like $1 million for the hardware, and then you pay another $1 million for the software because they're the only ones with it. And like there's these all these licenses. Like if you want to use any kind of Unix environment, you pay out your ass for the privilege to do it,
mhm.
and like only like government, military, and maybe some
Okay, but
universities were able to
mhm.
afford it, right? And so people started experimenting with like making compatible stuff and writing their own operating systems for these things. And it's all very commie. Like it's coming in like 60s and 70s US
Mhm.
Berkeley, which are like super left wing to this day. So it is a very commie kind of idea. It's like, oh, the software is for everybody, right? It is to be shared. And so they distribute the source code so you can play around with it and build it yourself. And it like having source control isn't really about that. It makes it easier to collaborate, I guess. But
But this is where this is the distinction I'm trying to make, because this is open source. This is an idea of open source.
mhm,
Also, another idea of open source is like um crowd resourcing. Like you could start a project on a repo
mhm.
and then allow people to contribute to this project,
Yeah, yeah, you
and
could.
it's everybody's project, ideally. So we
Well, it's
all
not necessarily everybody. Like, see that's where it depends, because you could be the main gatekeeper. It's like in not so early days, but like in early days of Linux, Linus Torvalds was the guy that was saying what goes in and what doesn't go in. Like you can send him a patch, but it doesn't mean that he's gonna accept it. I think now there's like multiple people governing various
maintainers.
subsystem maintainers. Yeah, exactly.
These are the maintainers. Like I get the point. Like these are maintained, but at the end of the day, it's still like for example, I think it was the same idea that Elon was saying was supposed to be like OpenAI was supposed to be like this. Everyone should have like access to the source code and stuff like this. But this is an idea of open source, and also there is the part like open source, like Microsoft, like Visual Studio, where like
Mm-hmm.
there is a company that has license to or like patent to a particular product or something like this,
Mm-hmm.
and they're like, well, we can open this product for you to build other products.
Well, it's kind of like it's not truly open source. It's more like source available. And before
Technically,
before you can have commercial software with source available to you if you buy it, and like you can't build it yourself and like use it and sell it or whatever, but you can, if you're having some issues, you can consult it to see what the problems may be, kind of thing, right? So it's not truly open source. The whole idea of like open source and free software, free as in like freedom too, was the fact that it is available, you can do whatever you want with it. And then, like GPL came out to kind of prevent people from abusing the system, but it was so kind of over the top that people preferred not to use it, because as soon as you add any kind of GPL code to your thing, the whole thing by that license has to become open, and a lot of people didn't see uh, value in that.
what do
So
you mean by GPL? What is GPL?
GNU public license
Oh, okay,
from
that's
Stallman,
one.
like
Okay.
GPL v2. I think AGPL like v3. There's like a bunch of different licenses. There's like so many different licenses, but like the beginning of open source, I think, I'm not entirely sure, but there's the BSD license, and then there's like the GNU GPL license. They were kind of like the one of the very early ones. Now there's like a billion licenses. Like Creative Commons came out sometimes in 2000s to kind of try to make it really easy to understand about what you can and can't do, and they have like all these different degrees of the type of license and the type of things you can choose to license your software with. But like not even in terms of licensing, right? It's,
So
I think that the idea is still the same, but it has been subverted. You know how these days things no longer mean what they used to mean? Like
I
people would
get it.
say things and you think one thing
Yeah,
from the definition you learned
yeah.
like 10 years ago or
Hmm.
20 years ago,
Hmm.
but now they mean something entirely different, and that
Hmm.
thing is like way more kind of
I,
weird
I, I,
compared to yours.
I totally think the same way, and I feel like I'm asking all this like clarifying these questions,
Mhm.
um, just so we can have like the same picture of open
Mhm.
source. Because like when most people have different ideas of open source, I think the popular one these days is like the ones that you can just like have some projects and that are open for you to contribute to or stuff like that. But there is also like the ones that are on a higher level commercially, like from big corporations like Google Chrome.
Mhm.
But this is my argument, right? I think if I understood your first initial concern, which I think is a valid concern, it's just like as a company, if I'm Microsoft, I have a product. I can open the product for you to use to create other things, but not necessarily open what makes the product
Hmm.
for you to, for example, I think a good example could have been Linux, Linux and Mac OS probably. I think they are from the same um source in a way.
Well, OS
The
X is like
Unix.
based off of BSD, I believe. So it's not entire. It's not like Linux, but it is like in that similar family.
So I'm feeling like it could make another OS, but not exactly like this. So and the same thing with like another popular example could have been like Microsoft Visual Studio Code and a product like Cursor. I don't know if tomorrow another products will come out and it's just gonna be like this. So I feel like in a way, you still have to keep the identity of the product, even though you're not letting people customize what makes the product the product. Like, and I feel like this is kind of logical, like it makes sense to me. Or is there a problem that I'm not?
No, I think that you're talking about slightly different things. Like
Okay,
I'm talking more about the fact that the core teams of foundational open source projects have been taken over by ideologues and activists who don't care about the software. They care about the
activist.
propagation of their political beliefs and views and foisting them upon everybody.
You say something now. Like, what do you mean? Please put this T. Who are
Well,
these
like
activists?
when somebody, says something online about their political beliefs and they get banned from an open source project and all of their contributions gets deleted,
Deleted.
that's not good.
Well, that's T. We need to unpack this.
Like
Delete.
back in the day, in Linux, there was this file system called Reiser FS. It was developed by I think German guy named Hans Reiser. And it was like a very, very advanced file system at the time. That was like during the XFS2 days where XFS2 was like very compared to what we have now. I mean, it was fairly rudimentary. And Riser FS had like all these cool features. And then allegedly or not, I think Hans Reiser killed his wife and went to jail. And people are like, I mean, that kind of sucks and all, but having the source code for his file system in a kernel has nothing to do with what he did as a private individual. And even though he is now a murderer and serving his time in jail, that's fine. The code can stay. I think eventually, like 10, 15 years later, they finally removed it because there were no maintainers for it and it kind of just bit rotted away. But the point is that his personal conduct outside of his engineering merit had no impact on the code that he produced.
Mm,
And now some guy says like,
mm,
maybe we shouldn't let so many illegal immigrants into our country, banned out of every forum and like source code deleted, like just completely purged. Like that's what I'm kind
mm.
of trying to describe.
Is this happening though?
Yes.
I think this is a community thing. This is not like open source thing. I think it's just like a community issue. Did
It is a
you
community issue, but when it's happening in open source projects, the problem is that a couple of
like a
people.
woke system? Like we have this woke thing.
Yes, exactly. But the thing is like you can have a community of 100 people, and then you can have like 3 activists join, and in a matter of months just completely take over. Even though there's like 3 versus 100, they're so loud and obnoxious that everyone doesn't just want to deal with it and like, oh fuck it, just let them have it. And in open source, which is all community based, it used to be very merit based. It's like you either write good code that fits in the goals of the project, and whatever you do on your spare time, nobody gives a shit about. Now it's all about your identity, about this, about that. If you have the right mindset, then we can accept your
Who is asking this
contributions.
question? Who is asking this question? At what point? Because the way I see, so for example, for me, I know like usually we have most of the repositories probably have like a channel on Discord, or maybe you have it on Slack. Some people have theirs on Slack or something. So at what point do you get to have this conversation with people
Did
that they know?
you did you notice when a lot of open source projects started adding this code of conduct document to the repositories?
Mm-hmm. It's
Why is
true.
that? Why
I
is
never even
that?
read it. I don't know. I
Well,
guess,
you should
yeah.
read one. You should read one and ask, why do we need this for a bunch of professionals and reasonable individuals? Like, why does this have to be here? Like, who benefits from having this here?
Okay.
It used
There
to
is
be
one
that
I read.
every project, it just had like a license, a README, and a copyright file. And it's just like how you install it, how it's licensed, and like which people hold copyrights to which parts of the system. Now it's all these TOSs and code of conducts, and you're supposed to do this, and you're not supposed to do that, and you're supposed to say this, and you're not supposed to say that. And it's like, why is that necessary?
I'm Yeah,
It
that's a good
started not
question.
too long ago. It wasn't like this for years and years and years. Like all this code of conduct bullshit is fairly recent.
To be honest, yeah, maybe I think it's true. Because I remember seeing a few files like I don't read these things. Like this particular one, I read me and like any other file that's important for installation or like has like information, but I should pay attention to it. I
So
just never
usually,
thought.
like, yeah, if you want to have a takeover of an open source community, you send in a patch with a code of conduct. And it looks benign enough, right? It's like, oh, okay, well, it kind of outlines how we should behave. And reasonable people already behave like that. So there's like literally no point.
Do you know what? Do you know what, Vasily? I
Yeah.
tell you something. Um, the idea that everyone is normal, like everyone is sane, is a
The
very
thing is,
long idea.
back in the day, you nobody cared if you were sane or normal. All they cared about was the code that you produce.
Yeah, but
And
you
that is
see,
no longer the case. Like for years, for like 60 years, everyone was pretty happy with doing it that way. And we had progress by leaps and bounds in terms of engineering. And in last decade, it all went into the code of conduct and all this whiny horseshit. And now
mm,
all the projects are kind of full of crap and like nothing works. Why is that?
do you know what? Do you know what? I don't know why, honestly, but this is what I think. And I usually I'll do this thing where I do like an advocate, so actually like try to understand why people do what they do. So for me, what I can think of right now is like sometimes when I'm like just going through some conversations or like some PRs about you know,
Mhm.
and I see some people have conversations that are interesting. For example, some people could start a conversation about something completely unrelated to what is where you should be having this type of conversation. Or they could become very condescending to other people on, and it kind of affects. It's like every community should have a rule, and I'm up for this. Like I like we should have how we expect people to be. And it's the problem is I don't think that in this age you should have to explain this to people. I don't think so. But we are here where we even have to put into toilet. Public toilets now have instructions.
Yeah.
Like, do you not have a toilet in your house? Like, do
Well,
you-
that's the thing, right? That's actually very you're right. It's the same thing. It's like all of a sudden in toilets there's like all these signs that says do not climb onto the bowl with your legs. It's like, interesting. I wonder why they had to put that there.
you
Like,
know?
what precipitated this change?
Yeah. People are very interested. Like,
Yeah. The
you
noticing intensifies. But like as I was saying, like first you introduce a code of conduct and everyone's like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. And then you can use that code of conduct to start like banning people or giving people shit for because like, oh, now there's a code of conduct you can point out to. Like, oh, you said something mean, and we are saying that you're supposed to be this and this and that. You're supposed to be tolerant of everybody, and you said something intolerant and that's mean, and therefore you're banned. And it seems kind of again, it seems kind of reasonable because it's like, Well, yeah, the thing is there. The guy got banned. But if you start looking into the application of these things, it's only ever one way.
Oh, that throws a
Well,
spanner in there. What do you mean?
like GNOME Foundation, the guys that make GNOME Desktop,
Hmm.
on their blog, they're calling this Jewish guy a Nazi. They have a code of conduct that says they're not supposed to, yet they do it anyway.
Hmm.
And anytime you mention his name, you get banned. If you go on their forums and you link to any of his YouTube videos or any of his articles, you get banned, regardless of the content of said
Well,
videos
you
and
know what?
articles.
You know what? I feel like the big T I want to know right now is: have you ever been banned?
I haven't been banned because I don't go to forums, but I kind of, in the periphery, I read about these things, and I read
Okay.
about all these project takeovers where they just start calling everybody a Nazi and banning people, and it's like, okay, well, okay, fair enough.
That's actually like what, but I think this is it's more of a product of. I don't think it's a technical. I think it's funny that it got into this
There's
industry.
nothing technical about it. It's purely
Yeah,
ideological.
it's completely like a social, and it's a very common scenario right now. Like I feel like everybody tries to find something um like an agenda. Like
Yeah, yeah.
usually, it's personal
So
sometimes.
the agenda used to be, we're building this thing, and our agenda is to build the highest quality thing possible and make it like really nice and pleasant and just have it out there. And now it's like, we're building this thing, but if you're thinking this thing, like if you're thinking this way, then you're not welcome. Fuck off.
Yeah, you can't be
Uh,
part of this. Yeah, that's. But how do we then fix this? Like I don't know because if you don't have this kind of control too, people can people, you know.
yeah, there was this recent thing about Xorg. Do you know Xorg?
I don't. I don't Vasili. You asked me the question, you were like, I know you don't know.
Well, I mean, I don't know. You might know, but like Xorg is
Yeah, go
basically,
on.
so in Linux there's like two main kind of standards about how you render graphics on screen.
Hmm.
One is Xorg, which is really really old. It's
Yeah,
like
that's right.
this system
I just
that, and the other one is called Wayland, which is new and mostly like doesn't fully work everywhere. So a lot of people like defer to Xorg because Xorg, at least it could be like slow, but at least it works and it's fairly stable. And there was
okay.
this guy who was submitting patches to the Xorg. He like sent a bunch of patches to like fix some bugs or whatever. And the maintainer's like, yeah, no, we're not going to accept those patches anyway, because, like, yeah, nobody really needs this. Nobody really wants this. And in fact, they, like, closed all the PRs and banned the guy off the repo. So he forked it into Ex Libre. And immediately a couple of distros said, like, if you're using if you're building packages to install Ex Libre into your distribution, then you're literally a fascist and you should go and die.
It's an agenda. At that point, it has nothing
So
to do with the work.
the like
It's
the
like,
but that's the thing that kind of tells
but you
me
see,
how cooked everything is in that whole, maybe not the original idea, but the kind of people aggregating around all of these projects, the activists that turn everything they touch into shit, that have infested all the major projects. Yeah, that's why I'm thinking that it's cooked. And then on
I
the other
agree with
side,
you.
we have the corpo open source, which is kind of like open source, but they like license it in a way where you can't really do anything meaningful with it.
Do you know why
Therefore,
me? I think
defeating the
it's
whole point.
cooked. You know why me? I agree with that. It's cooked. Is like I feel like for this part reason, I think this is just a social problem, and it's not just in open source. I think it's in many other industries, like even in corporate world, in offices, in football, in anything. Like everybody wants to have an idea, and they really believe this idea.
I just
But
I just thought that like engineering was like the domain of nerds, and it's not going to be touched for the
nah,
longest time, and it's going to be spared because
mm,
it's just like a bunch of nerds nerding out about nerdy shit. And
Yeah.
now it's like completely steamrolled over the whole thing. So
Now this is where you even have like the most of it. But what I was getting to was like my issue with open source right now is that it is more like a like a dream, like an idea, but it's not. There is
the,
no reward.
the dream is slowly turning into a nightmare.
There is no real reward for for this kind of thing. There used to be some kind of like social how do you say, like street credibility. Like you get some street cred, like you say, like, oh yeah, you contribute to this open source. You feel like you're giving back to the society and like you're contributing and stuff like this. But now it's not like this because you could be a contributing member to a particular repo for quite some time, and then one day you hear that, oh, now c'est ça, that's it. You're out, and you have not really like gained much aside from like maybe learning technical
Well,
stuff and
I think thankfully you can still fork things. So like
eh,
Xorg thing, they forked it and called it X Libre and applied all the patches that they wanted to apply, and immediately like a bunch of distros is like, yeah, we're gonna ship it with our stuff. It looks good to us. And everyone's like, Ree, you can't do that, Ree. Everybody who's using this distro is a horrible person, which is like the level of discourse in this day and age on
yeah,
engineering matters.
yeah, yeah. This does not even surprise me, but we should not really let this like freestyle up, but I don't even think we can control it because first they are people before they are engineers. So like we are going to people for sure. Like this is this is just is a thing. I hope that maybe we can have like a better culture around it though, especially
Yeah.
in the development of things. Like we could have a culture that actively finds a way to reward people for their contribution or like recognize people in a way, something. Get
Yeah.
something from your work,
And
you
if,
know.
if you have an open source project and somebody sends a PR for a code of conduct, ban that person immediately. Just ban them because they'll take shit over. I'm telling you.
Why are you so afraid of this?
I'm not afraid of it. It's just this Kwame horseshit that keeps infesting everything, and I don't want to live in that timeline.
Fair enough.
You know.
Because yeah, fair enough. Honestly, fair enough. But everybody wants to have like their own government.
See, it's kind of funny because like a lot of naive people are really kind of enamored with this idea of communism as pertains to like having a political system that's organizing everyone's life, mostly because they never had anything to do with it. They don't know what's going to happen. They haven't read history, and they're like they just think that they're going to get free shit basically. And kind of philosophically, open source in its original incarnation was like the perfect implementation of the communist idea, because it was to everyone according to their need and from everyone according to their ability. Like if you have the ability to contribute to an open source project, you do. And if you just have a need to use it, you can. That was like the perfect communist utopia. And even then fucking commies had to come in and fuck it up. Everything they touched turned to shit. Even like the most platonic ideal version of it that was working, they managed to turn to shit, which marinate on that one in your spare time, dear viewer. So yeah, sorry, I got a bit agitated because call me horseshit usually agitates me. Can't stand it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
And for
But
for the naysayers, I was born in Soviet Union, so fuck you.
oh, is that personal? That's not
Huh?
personal, right? It's not personal.
No, for those who say like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. It's like, yeah, I
Ah,
do.
okay.
It wasn't directed toward you. It was directed toward the person who's like, yeah, communism can totally work. It's like, no, it can't. Shut up.
You know what?
Hmm.
I know people who will argue with you. I know, like, I can't really defend it, but I know people who will.
Funnily enough, they can't defend it either. If you go to Google and like watch a commies trying to debate, like as soon as you start asking them like weird questions, they just pack up and leave because they can't defend it. The second funny thing is the grave of Karl Marx in London. You're
Mm-hmm.
supposed to pay a fee to see it. You know, the, the
Well,
the main ideologue of communist movement is charging money to see his grave. I think that's quite ironic.
it's not in his defense, it's not his idea. In his
Well,
defense.
I guess. I mean, it is his ideology, but the fact that they're charging money to see it
Why,
it's
who
kind
is
of
getting
funny.
this money? This is actually wild. But who gets this money?
That's like actually a good question. I remember this anecdote. I don't know if it's a real story or not about like this park which had this parking attendant that was like if you drive to this national park somewhere in the states, uh, the guy would basically come up and be like, "Hey, the parking here is $5," and he was like a really nice old
Mhm.
fellow, and everyone's kind of chill, and like he would just collect your parking fees. And then one day he said like, "Well, I'm retiring, blah 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 blah," and like disappeared. And people are like, I wonder where this guy is. So they wrote to like the Ministry of Parks, and it's like, all federal parks in the U.S. have free parking. This guy was basically ripping everybody off for years, and then he rode into the
Oh
sunset with all
Jesus!
the money.
Oh,
So
maybe that's what's
yeah,
happening now. Because yeah,
maybe,
that seems like it.
maybe,
Because like this is not money that's supposed to go to the
yeah.
government. This is
It's
not
it's it's
taxes.
it's like the pre-selected tip option on the payment terminal.
Mm-hmm.
Most people just hit OK without thinking twice about it,
That's
and
not
then
me.
even industries
Do
that
you?
never ask for tips ever, all of a sudden there's like tips. Huh?
Wait, let's digress a little bit.
Mm.
Where do you stand with tips?
Huh? When?
Where do you stand like giving tips?
I'm kind of two opinions on this thing because the way that the laws are set up, like I believe like in states and in here, like employers basically expect staff to get tips, so they legally have lower minimum wage because they're gonna be like bumped up through tips. So if I don't
Mm-hmm.
give them tips, I'm kind of fucking them over because like if they were just getting like whatever normal wage they would be getting and tips on top of that, I could really base my tips on like the quality of service and this and that. But now I feel like if I don't give them tips, like I'm punishing them financially way more than just, oh, I asked for water and you took like 30 seconds extra to bring it to me, and therefore I don't want to give you a tip. So I usually tip because working in service industry is just ass. And like their life is hard as it is, and so fine, I'll tip. It's just like when it gets ridiculous to some places where you would never expect to have a tip because like they don't really like if a cashier checks you out and just punches in the things you buy and collects the money, like should I tip him for that? Like he didn't really provided me any service. In fact, like he's just doing his job. Like that's his job. Like he's not going an extra mile by checking in my purchases at the till. Like why should I give him a tip, right? So it's
I
like a taxi driver. It's like, okay, we've agreed on a price. This is the rate per kilometer. You get paid out of that, and you get me from point A to point B. Like I could consider giving you a tip if, like, I don't know, you did something, but it's just like it's expected by default. It's like, why is it expected by default? You're doing the job I'm paying you for already.
Do you know what? I have a My opinion about this is I don't know what it is to be honest, but I'm gonna share with you, right? So I think in the service industry, we have this industry called service industry. Maybe like at restaurants or like someone who gives you a service. But I
Yeah,
find like this is pretty much what it means to have a job. If you have a job, you are given a service.
yeah,
So technically, everyone in this should be in this bracket where like they should be. So it's okay when we talk about like people who work in like food industry or like entertainment industry, like food restaurants and stuff. We see them if you don't give tips, you see them like, oh yeah, they are already going through it. Like you should give them more money to
No,
balance
it's
their
just it's just because legally they have like, if I don't know what the minimum wage is these days, but like theirs is lower because they're expected to be paid tips.
And this is where I have a problem
Yeah. Well, I
because
mean, I have a problem with the concept of minimum wage as it is, but then again,
so I have a problem with the idea that if you have if someone hires you to do a job, you negotiate the compensation with the person that hired you. Because now with the tips, you kind of make more than the rest of the people who are on the economic level. The
well,
same.
like when I pay the bill, this transaction is between me and the restaurant. But when I pay the tip, that transaction is between me and the waiter. But
Do you understand?
they made it into the
Yeah,
same
but
thing.
do you understand my point? So, like,
Yeah.
let's say 100 people. And this conversation, I hope it never comes back in the future, but let's say 100 people eat in the restaurant. And 100 people give on average $20
Mm-hmm.
on average. Let's just say $20 from 100 people. That's how much? $2,000?
$2,000.
That's $2,000 just for smiling. And thank you, but you have done your job. And you're an engineer. You work. Even when you put in extra work at work, like you put in all the extra hours, you
Yeah,
cannot.
that's the other thing too. It's like
Do you get tips for your job?
in BC, and I think in a lot of Canadian provinces, IT workers don't qualify for overtime because, oh, it's IT, shit breaks at any time, so like you can't be expected to collect overtime.
Do you
Like
see that?
why?
Do you see that?
Why is that?
You
It's
see
like,
that?
the employer basically puts me on call and makes me spend my weekends babysitting the phone, and I don't get paid for it because there's no overtime. Fuck you.
See, do you and this is a service too. So like you are giving a service too. So I nobody's gonna. So for me, I feel differently about it. I'm not saying people should not be well compensated. Everybody should ask for the compensation that matches what they want. It's just like, let me give you out of the joy of my heart and just feel like, oh, I enjoyed what you did. Here is thank you for the good extra service. But at the point where now it's like, if I don't do it, um, I'm ruining your life. I shouldn't feel this amount of pressure. Like,
Yeah.
don't look at me like
You
when you're
know,
holding the thing. Like you're looking at me like that.
exactly. It's like this thing, right? We were on a cruise a bunch of years back, pre-COVID probably. We were on a cruise, and it was like Jamaica, something like that, right? Very, very poor country, right? And like everybody's just looking at you like you're a walking wallet on legs, which I did not enjoy, you know. And like so, there's all these guys like driving taxis, like offering to take you to various places for a tour, right? And like we negotiate the price. It's like, oh, I'm gonna take you to the waterfalls, and it's gonna cost you, I don't know, $100,
Mhm.
right? And then we get there, and then he drops us off back, and like he starts haggling for more money. And I'm like, motherfucker, you could have told me 120 from the beginning, and I would say, okay, I can live with that, fine. You said 100, I paid you 100, and now you have
Now
the
you want
balls
more
to be like,
money.
oh, my poor family, give me more money. Like,
Tips. Yeah.
if
This,
if I
this
was
is
prepared to pay you 120, I would have said yes, and that would have been that. I was prepared to pay you 100, and I paid you 100. If I would say no, okay, stop wasting your time with me. Go find somebody else who's willing to pay you 120. But like, don't like
haggle.
say one thing and then
Yeah.
start messing with me on the other end of it. It's just such a bullshit thing. And like the whole tip situation is kind of in that same vein. Like
Yeah.
because now it's
Yeah.
expected. Like, you know, you go to restaurants like, oh, if your party is 6 people or more, we automatically include 20% gratuities into your bill.
You're not even eating the food.
So it's like if we come in 3 and 3 and sit next to tables and have two separate waiters, then you don't. But if we sit at the one table, then you do. Like Anyway, it's
that's a different tangent, and that's even worse. Like that's exploitation already. Like what? Like what extra? What? Why? Is this a thing? Is this a real thing?
yeah, no, all restaurants do that. Like look at the check. Usually at the bottom they say, or on the menu they say like, we reserve the right to charge you extra gratuity for like parties bigger than, usually it's like 6 people. They just automatically include the tips into your bill.
Interesting.
So
Interesting.
yeah, I don't know.
Anyway,
If you start digging around that whole situation, you're gonna turn into a capitalist pretty soon.
eh, yeah. Oh well.
Well, Mo, thank you so much. We
Thank
finally
you,
managed to
Vasili.
find the time, and I think
Thank you.
that hopefully next one will be sooner than in another month. But
Yeah. When are you going back to work?
I've extended my leave until like January.
Ah, you have time then. Oh, you have all this time.
Well, yeah, but like I do have the calendar days, but at the same time with the kid, uh, it's not the same. So anyway, I probably gotta go and take care of something. I've been away
All
for
right.
way too long.
Okay then.
So thanks everyone who's watching. Leave your comment about what you think is happening to open source. Is it even gonna survive, or are we forever doomed to be, enslaved in the pixel minds by
Mhm,
AI vacuuming everything about
mhm,
us
mhm.
from the operating system that we use? So
Yeah.
yeah, have a good one. We'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.
Bye.